Hey, what's up, yo? I got another knife for you, of course. This one's orange. I decided that color. There's also some dark green and a black version of it. But yeah, this is a FreeTiger, which I've taken a look at a few of them before. This one is the FT31. I had just seen it come into Amazon as I kind of peruse folding knives on Amazon and just saw that it showed up and kind of liked it. So decided to pick it up. And I'm impressed for a few reasons, but yeah, we can certainly go into that. This is a fairly full-size knife. He's got about like a 3.4-inch blade on him. Like I said, G10. You can see it's nested. That's pretty sweet. And it's got an access lock on there. Well, crossbar lock, as I'll refer to it, but yeah. So I'll go ahead and do a couple of comparisons here. We got there's a Kalashnikov 74. We got the Mannix XL, yeah, big old boy there. Let's go for another Spyderco. How about the PM2? So the blade's kind of right around there, and the handle as well. So a little bit slimmer kind of version of a PM2 there. There's Rat 1, which is a little bigger. And a Benchmade 940, which is, I guess, kind of comparable. I guess if we kind of move that back there, it's just a little bit smaller than that one. And, yeah, I don't really think anybody necessarily cares, but might as well do an Endura as well. Which, yeah, the Endura is a little bit larger. So, all right, there you go. There's some of those. Move those other knives out. So yeah, this guy is writing on bearings, and they are a little interesting. So we will get into that a little bit later on here. But yeah, we got a clip that's pretty darn deep carry, and it is reversible. So this is fully ambidextrous, which is pretty cool. Unfortunately, the clip is very thin and kind of has some little bit of sharp edges there, and it's not quite wide enough for me to like. But if they still wanted to go like this, and they angled it just a little bit differently, it would work great for the pocket clip, because the flats on this G10 are actually highly textured, peel-ply like Spyderco's will do for, well, especially the para and military models, but almost everything else that they do in G10 with flat. So highly textured, not Emerson textured, but still a good amount of grip there. But where they haven't milled, it's a bit smoother. So if they just angled this a little bit over there, the pocket clip wouldn't really have much of a landing patch on that textured G10 there. Might make it a little bit nicer. I don't know. It's still not, super rough in and out of the pocket, but it could have made it a little bit nicer if they, wanted to continue going with this super thin clip. But yeah, the clip is inset into the G10, which is good. As with almost every manufacturer out there, we got kind of domed screws on there, which is annoying to say the least. One of these days, that will be a thing of the past. So, about the only thing that I'm really not super keen on is the thumb disc on this guy. It is, nice and attractive. I do believe it's aluminum that's anodized to kind of match the G10 version. So the green one, I think, it might be gray or something like that, and the black one is black there. However, this doesn't have any jimping on it. It just has the side steps, which means it's really, really easy to fail. If you're somebody who's predisposed to opening out, then you're going to have a much better time. But yeah, still, you can easily flick this thing out. So if you don't like that, that's fine. You can also take it out in case you just really don't want to see that there at all. So there you go. Next up, I think I did show it, but I didn't quite mention it. This is in D2, which, yep, FreeTiger is known for actually using the steels that they advertise, and yeah, this guy actually took quite a bit of effort to sharpen, so it's doing pretty good as far as a Rockwell hardness scale, as far as I'm concerned, with sharpening it with diamonds. So yeah, there's that. Yeah, so we got nested liners in here, which is great. Keeps it super thin. I think it's like 0.52 inches. So, yeah, just slightly wider than a PM2. But, yeah, it's, I like the blade shape on it quite a bit. The handle's actually, quite nice and comfortable. Fairly, what's the word I'm looking for? Neutral, that's the word I'm looking for. But yeah, it's got some contouring right where you'd want to get your finger there. You can choke up. I generally don't like to do that, as I say a whole lot of times. But yeah, it's certainly possible to do so. But yeah, I think it's really comfortable. It's a full four-finger grip for me. You have quite a large area of lanyard sort of thing there. It is just G10. It's not, you know, like a crazy aluminum backspacer or steel or anything like that. But as far as for lanyard duty, it works just fine. And it's, you know, nice and attractive and all that sort of good stuff. Okay, so the access lock kind of things on here, they do stick out a bit proud, a little bit more than they perhaps do on an actual access lock. There, so they're a little bit more proud, and with a kind of a smaller little domed area up there. But yeah, they certainly work exactly the same. Something to keep in mind. This is an access lock that has bearings in the pivot. They're not the first company to do it. What I do have to say is that in almost all circumstances, they feel a little weird. And it's not necessarily the bearings' fault. It's the bearings are okay, but you still, for the most part, have that steel crossbar that rides across it. So you kind of get the feeling of a mix between washers and bearings. So depending on exactly how you're doing it, it will feel a bit different. You know, if you want to pull it back and go all the way, that's fine. It's going to feel much different if you actually deploy it with a thumb stud. And that goes with all of them that I've played around with that have had that. So Gonzo's done a couple of them. SOG has also done that with some of their new XR knives, like the Terminus and the Kiku. I think they did the compact, but I haven't actually touched one of those yet. But yeah, so something to keep in mind. An access lock with bearings is not going to feel quite the same as a liner lock or a frame lock with bearings. All right. Now that I've said that, I do kind of want to show you what's going on with these bearings, because they're a bit wild and out there compared to what I've seen elsewhere. I'm not going to do a full super teardown on this. Why? Well, because I just recently done one with an access lock for the bearfly from Jufale, or Joful, whatever. And this is, you know, about the same as far as all that construction is concerned. I probably didn't even need to take out those screws, but that's fine. So yeah, it's got central bearing spacers on it. It doesn't have you know, a Chicago style screw for the posts there. But that's perfectly fine. All right, so yeah, we got them nested. A whole bunch of skeletonization going on these liners. That's fantastic. This one you can see is much more traditional, where it actually has a separate hole for the omega springs, rather than that little slot that the Jufel one had, which was a little maddening. However, an omega spring is an omega spring, and springs go yeet themselves. So yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and grab that with a pair of tweezers to make sure that it ain't going nowhere. And I don't even need to remove that from there. All I'm really trying to do is get one of these guys out here, which means I can do that. Oh, let's see. I got like a sticker or something thin. I can try and coax this thing out. There we go. All right. So yeah, here is the little washer with the itty bitty little bearings on there. It is basically a nylon washer, straight up, with just the most microscopic of steel bearings on there. They might look a little black to you, but they are most definitely shiny and steel. And that's a little interesting to me. I kind of don't want to fully take this dang thing apart, but on the inside, there's no cutout for the blade, nor is there a cutout on the liner. It just sits in there like a washer. And with how thin it is, yeah, and it does give you kind of that feeling of bearings in there, which it's kind of neat. I'm surprised I haven't seen it before, but also pretty aware that it's probably not the easiest thing to try to manufacture. There we go. I'm just going to, yeah, there we go. Cool. Slide that right back in. And reattach that spring. Hey. No yeeting of the springs this time, which is fantastic. Omega springs are not the funnest things to try and find on a carpet, because they are, I mean, by their nature, they're very small and thin and whatnot. So, yeah. So I'll go ahead and throw this guy back together a little bit, and I'll get some measurements here. Obviously, if you're not fully aware, I do basically put a lot of these measurements for each of these pocket knives down in the description, so you can easily find them there, in case you would like that in a little written format rather than watching me yammer on and whatnot. And I don't think I mentioned it when I first started taking this apart, but yeah, it's T6 for everything but the pivot, which is the T8 there. So there you go. Let's see, since I'm a righty, I'll go ahead and put the clip on that side. It's actually kind of nice that, you know, a lot of these cheaper knives are actually using steel hardware for things. I think I could probably go a little less tight on the pivot there. How about if I actually grab the T8? That would help. And this does have a tiny D-shaped pivot to it. The D-shape sort of thing isn't super large and wide, but it's certainly there. Yeah, cool. All right, so that guy's kind of out the way there. So I did say this is about a 3.4-inch blade of D2. With G10 handles, all nice and nested and skeletonized and all that sort of good stuff. And yeah, we got 3.1, almost 5 ounces, or 89 grams, which, yeah, that's pretty good. That certainly does make that ounce and inch kind of ratio there. And yeah, you can certainly see that they did go for that with the amount of skeletonization they put in those liners there. All right, where is my calipalulus? Sorry. My niece used to call a caterpillar a catapalulu, maybe. Well, geez, she's pregnant now, so, it's been many years ago, but... Yeah, we got, like, basically 3.1 to 3.15 millimeter for blade stock, so, kind of middle of the road. Not super, super, super crazy thick, but, nice. And it's got kind of like a high, flat saber kind of ground sort of thing. I do actually like this little patch right here. Made it really easy to clamp into my sharpening system. But, yeah, you can also take that thumb disc out, as I was mentioning. It's stepped out in there, so it actually looks a little weird with it not there. But, yeah, that's perfectly fine. All right, and I did do the measurement that I mentioned here. It's 0.52 inches thick, so just slightly more than PM2. So sweet. What I can say is that this thing is actually pretty darn sweet and gives Gonzo a run for their money, because this guy's 22 bucks. And it's got an access lock on it, like Gonzo does, but has a D2 blade on it, which Gonzo has not done yet. They might be coming out with a couple of their G-Lock knives in D2 later on this year. I've seen some random listings on Amazon for them with a preliminary price of around 30 bucks or so. So, yeah, they're doing a pretty good job of competing right in that price range. And with a lot of the same good construction and manufacturing techniques. So, yeah, there's not a huge amount of knives from them. I think they probably have like 7 or 8 models out there. But, I mean, if they keep going the way that they're going and get their name out there a bit more, then, yeah, they are very much in competition with Gonzo, which is great. I like to see competition in all different price ranges. Like I said, I had quite a difficult time trying to get exactly a super magnificent edge on this thing. A little bit more difficult time than I usually have with D2. So that usually shows me, at least, that, it's got a pretty decent hardness on there. I would probably guess somewhere between 59 and 61, somewhere right around in there. Which, yes, I do understand that's actually quite a large margin as far as Rockwell hardness goes. But yeah, it's on the higher end. It's not 57 or 58. It's not super soft like that. So yeah, this guy will work quite a long time for you. It doesn't have any jimping on the top, but it does have basically a bit of a divot there for the thumb disc. I actually find that quite comfortable. It does offer, plenty of a landing pad sort of thing. And you do also get, while it's not textured, you still kind of get a lot of the nice grippiness from the top of the G10. Something that you absolutely can't get with shadow boxed liners, which I generally do not appreciate on knives. So there you go. Yeah, for 22 bucks, this is an awesome jammy and something that, you might want to consider if you are looking for something around in that range and you've been kind of thinking a bit about Gonzo. This is a bit of a step up in the steel for the type of lock. So there you go. Yeah, one nice thing. I did mention it at the top, but yes, this is orange. I understand that's not everybody's jam. It's really not quite my jam either, but I'm getting really, really bored of just black and green, which is the only other two colors that this thing currently comes in. If it did come in purple, like a couple of the other FreeTigers that I've got, like the FT11 and the 903, then I would have snapped that up immediately because my purple's kind of my jam. So there you go. That's the FreeTiger FT31. I believe it's quite new. But yeah, they're about $22 on Amazon. And I think it's a pretty damn decent deal for $20. All right. As always, I appreciate y'all for watching. And have yourself a wonderful rest of your day, yo.